presentation for CSCI E-89 Deep Learning. In this presentation, I will go through the technologies I use for object classification of your favorite photo. My problem statement. Use tools within deep learning to classify objects within images. For image classification, two different techniques were used, VGG16 and TensorFlow Hub. Presentation for CSCI E-89
Listed below
Deep Learning. In this
are some of the
presentation,
advantages
I
and
will go through the
disadvantages
technologies
used in this
I use for
demonstration.
object classification of your favorite photo. Throughout my work on this project, I came up with the following conclusion. Object classification
My problem
tools
statement.
Work
Use
well
tools
in obvious photos.
within deep learning.
In addition,
to classify
deep learning
objects
tools
within
for this
images.
technology were
For
used
image
to set up
classification,
and easy
two
to use.
different
techniques were used.
Some of the
VGG16
disadvantages.
and TensorFlow
This
Hub.
technology
does not work on photos of humans, but does seem to work on
Listed
photos
below
of animals like cats and dogs.
are some of the advantages and disadvantages.
In addition,
used
this
in
technology
demonstration.
also fails
Advantages.
when a photo is very detailed. Throughout my work on this project, I came up with the following conclusion. Object classification tools work well on
The
obvious
software
photos.
used for this
In
demonstration.
addition,
Deep
Python
learning
tools for this
version
technology were
3.6
easy to
to set
set
up
up and easy to use.
Keras
version 2.2.4
Some of the disadvantages.
and
This
technology
TensorFlow
does not work
1.13.1
on photos of humans, but does seem to work on photos of animals like cats and dogs.
My
In
working
addition,
example.
this technology also
1.
fails
Collected
when a photo is
images
very
to be
detailed.
used for object classification.
2. Tested object classification using VGG16 technology.
The software
on my
used
favorite
for this
photo.
demonstration.
3. Python
Tested
version
object
3.6
classification
using
using
VGG16
Keras
technology on
version
other photos in my
2.2.4
dataset so that I can
and
see its
TensorFlow
performance.
1.4
13. Tested
13.1.
object classification using TensorFlow Hub technology on my favorite photo.
My
5.
working example.
Tested object
1.
classification
Collected images to
using
be used
TensorFlow
for
Hub
object
technology
classification.
on other photos in my
2.
dataset.
Tested object classification
with other
using
images. VGG16 technology on my favorite photo. 3. Tested object classification using VGG16 technology on other photos in my dataset so that I can see its performance.
Here is an image of my
4.
favorite photo
Tested
that I will
object
use for this
classification using
demonstration.
TensorFlow Hub technology on my favorite photo.
In my first example, I will be
Tested
using
object
VGG
classification
to classify
using
objects
TensorFlow Hub
within my
technology
image.
on other photos
As a
in my
first
dataset
step,
so that
I
I
have
can see its
imported
performance
several
with other
libraries,
images, including Keras, OS, NumPy, VGG16. In addition, I have also imported several modules within Keras. Here is an image of my favorite photo.
In addition,
that I will
to get
use for this
VGG16
demonstration up and running, I have configured it
In my
as
first
follows.
example,
I will
then
then
clear
clear
my
my
session
VGG16
and import
to
my
classify
photo.
objects
As you
within
can
my
see,
image.
my
photo is
as
on
a
my
first
local
step,
computer,
I have
and I have
imported
set
several
several
libraries.
libraries, including Keras, OS, NumPy, VGG16.
I then
In
use
addition,
the prediction
I have
function
also imported
to
several
classify
modules
my
within
loaded
Keras.
photo.
As you can see, in my code, I have asked for 3 predictions. In addition, to get VGG16 up and running,
Egyptian
I
cat,
have
tiger
configured
cat,
it
and
as
tabby
follows.
cat. So
I
not
then
too far
clear my
off.
session,
And
although I
import
would
my
not
photo.
classify her
As
as a
you can
tiger.
see,
My photo is on
I
my
then
local
plotted my
computer,
results
and
in a
I
bar
have set
chart.
a target size. After I was pleased with my
I then
results,
used
I
the
decided
prediction
to test
function
the tool
to
classify my loaded photo. As
on
you
less
can
obvious
see,
photos.
in my code, I have asked
The
for
less
3
obvious photo I
predictions.
used was a tray of chocolate
My
chip
3
cookies.
predictions
My
are
results were
as
interesting.
follows. Egyptian
It
cat,
determined that
tiger
there was a
cat,
tray in
and
the
tabby
photo,
cat, but ignored
so
the
not
cookie.
too far off.
Although I would not classify her as a tiger. I then plotted my results in a bar chart. In my next example, after I was pleased with my results, I decided to
to
switch gears and use a different technology. I
On less
installed
obvious
TensorFlow Hub.
photos.
Within TensorFlow Hub,
The less
there's a
obvious photo I
library of
used was a
deep
tray of chocolate
deep
chip
learning
cookies.
modules.
My results were
spanned across.
interesting.
It determined
different
that there was a tray in the
classification
photo,
objects,
such as
but
text
ignored the
classification,
cookie.
image classification, and video classification. I installed TensorFlow Hub and imported the
In my
libraries
next
I needed for
example,
this demonstration. I decided to switch
After
gears
that,
and use
I
a different
imported some
technology.
additional libraries,
I installed
loaded my
TensorFlow Hub.
image,
Besides
resized my
TensorFlow
image,
Hub,
and
there's
added
a
an
library of
prediction
deep learning
As
modules,
you can see,
which
I
span
received
across
one prediction of Egyptian cat,
different classification
prediction I
objects, such as
received
text
using
classification,
VGG16
image classification,
technology.
and video classification.
Like I did in my
installed
prior
TensorFlow Hub
example,
and imported
I
the
was happy
libraries
with my
I needed
prediction
for this
and
demonstration.
decided to try this on a less obvious photo.
Here is an image of
After
a
that,
toddler. I imported
Again,
some additional
I loaded the
libraries,
photo, loaded
resized
my
my
image,
image,
and
resized
added
my
my
prediction
prediction
function.
added in a prediction
The
function.
results were off, and
As
did
you
not
can
seem to
see,
classify
I
this
received
correctly.
one prediction of
The
Egyptian
classification
cat,
is
the same
swing,
prediction
and I'm
I
not clear on
received
how
using
the tool came
VGG
to that
16
conclusion.
technology.
Like I did in my prior example, I was happy with my prediction.
For my last
and
test,
decided to
I
try
loaded
this
in
on
more
a
than
less
one
obvious
image.
photo.
In my
Here
previous
is an
examples,
image of a toddler.
I classified objects
Again,
one by
I
one.
loaded the photo.
And in this
resized
example,
my
I'll
image,
attempt to classify
and
4
added in my
images.
prediction function.
Again, I
The
loaded
results
in
were
each
off
image
and
separately,
did not seem to classify
resized
this
each
correctly.
image,
And
and added in my
classification is
prediction.
swing, and I'm
The
not
4
clear on
photos
how
used were of
the
a
tool came to
telephone,
that
a
conclusion.
beer glass, a baby, and the beach. Out of the 4 objects below, the phone was classified as a sandal, the beer glass as a beer
For
glass.
my last test,
the baby
I
as
loaded in
pajamas,
more than one
the
image.
beach as
In my
seashore.
previous examples,
I classified
So,
objects one by
its
one.
accuracy
and
on
in
pretty
this
simple
example,
photos
I'll
is about
attempt to
50%.
classify 4 images.
I can understand
Again, I loaded in
why
each
I
image
incorrectly
separately,
classified the
resized
telephone
each image,
as it's not
and
such
added
a
in my
common
prediction
object these days.
The 4 photos
As I
used
also
were of a
mentioned at the
telephone,
beginning of
a
the
beer
presentation,
glass,
it does not
a
seem to
baby,
classify
and the
humans
beach.
correctly.
Out of the 4 objects below, the phone was classified as a
Conclusion.
sandal, the beer
In
glass as a
conclusion,
beer glass,
2
the
technologies
baby as
were used for
pajamas,
object
the
classification
beach as
of my
seashore.
favorite photo, as well as object
So,
classification of
Its
other
accuracy
photos.
on pretty simple photos is about 50%.
I use VGG 16
I can
for object
understand
classification and TensorFlow
why it
Hub.
incorrectly classified the
Within
telephone,
TensorFlow Hub, there
as it's
is
not
an image
such a common
classification
object
module.
these days. As
6
I also
images
mentioned
were
at
used
the
in this
beginning of the
demonstration,
presentation,
including
it
my
does not
favorite
seem to
photo
classify
of my
humans
cat.
correctly. My cat was classified correctly, more or less.
Conclusion.
So I decided to test the
In
technology
conclusion,
on some additional
2 technologies were used
Some of the
for object
images were
classification,
obvious of my
such as
favorite
a
photo,
a beach,
as well as object
and a beer
classification
glass,
of other
and
photos.
others were not, such as a tray of cookies.
I used VGG 16
As
for
a
object
test,
classification.
I also
and
included
TensorFlow
2
Hub.
images of humans,
Within
a baby
TensorFlow
and a
Hub,
toddler.
there is an image
As I
classification
mentioned
module.
earlier, object classification works
6
pretty
images
well,
were used
with
in
good
this
accuracy
accuracy
for
including
very
my
obvious
favorite photos
photos
like
of my
cats, beer glasses,
My
and
cat was
probably
classified
dogs.
correctly, more
It does
or
not
less.
work well with
So I
humans,
decided to
and
test
it
the
also did not
technology on
correctly
some
predict
additional
some of the
images.
objects in my data.
Some of the images were obvious, such as a beach and a beer glass, and others were not, such as a tray of cookies. As a test, I also included 2 images of humans, a baby and a toddler. As I mentioned earlier, object classification works pretty well, with good accuracy for very obvious photos like cats, beer glasses, and probably dogs. It does not work well with humans, and it also did not correctly predict some of the objects in my dataset.